And welcome to Impact 2025, our continuing conversation. This is our forum where we have all types of conversation, where we talk about race, religion, where we talk about current events, where we talk about anything that you can think of and that you may want to talk about, all different types of topics. And this is our opportunity so that we can talk and we have our forum and our free space because we need to be able to discuss the issues of the day. And as a result, we can come to some conclusions, maybe some understandings, or just, sometimes we just need to get some things off of our chest. And you can do that and participate in the process by typing your questions and your comments into the comment section. So whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, feel free, type something on in. It'll come up on the screen. We'll be able to discuss it. If you agree with what we're talking about, if you disagree with what's going on, just however you want to approach the situation. So please feel free to add your 2 cents, as they say. This is a conversation. This is not a speech. This is not a one-sided thing. This is your opportunity to say the things that you want to say. Before we start, we like to highlight the other ministries that we have going on here. This is the Monty Christian Ministries on Tuesdays. That's today at 7 o'clock. We have a time of prayer from 7 to 7:45. This is your opportunity to pray with everyone in the ministry. You don't have to pray the whole time, but sometime between 7 and 7:45, please put up a prayer, and you will be praying in concert with the rest of the members of the ministry. On Thursdays, you have an opportunity to come for Thursday Thirst. This is a weekly Bible study. This is an extremely good Bible study, a deep dive into the Bible, so that you can understand what our daily responsibilities are, or how the Bible affects our lives, and have a better and deeper understanding of what's going on in the Word. And then on Sundays, we have our worship service. Of course, you know what a worship service is. This is our Sunday worship service, and that time where we all get together. Please join us. That's at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock for Sunday, Thursdays at 7 o'clock, and then Tuesday as well at 7 o'clock from 7 to 7:45. And of course, now we have Impact 2025, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every week on Tuesdays. Thank you for joining us today, as always. We're going to hop right into it. Quick reminder again about the comments. So let me just go to where we're going to go. But first, just, things going on in different people's personal lives. In my personal life and people around me, there's been a lot of death lately. A lot of people passing on. And so just as a reminder to folk, life is precious. Life is, some people say short, but just make sure that you're living it. Make sure that you're enjoying it, but make sure more so that you are living it, that you're doing something, that you have a purpose for being here. It's a famous rapper used to say, don't worry about tomorrow because tomorrow will never come. Tomorrow never comes. It's always today. It's always today. It's always today. Tomorrow never gets here. So if you push off stuff till tomorrow, tomorrow will never get here. So just as a quick reminder, just because in my personal life, and I think in many people's lives around, there's been death around, and so just a reminder to just live your life fully. All right, so let's hop right into our topic. Was with some friends. Friends might be too strong a word. Was with some people. And just having conversations, just talking about different things, and I asked about a very famous sports star, number one ranked sports star in the world. It was like, hey, such and such and such, and just threw their name out there, and I had these looks of bewilderment on the faces of the people I was talking to, and I was wondering, okay, y'all don't know who this sports star is? This is a famous tennis player, and I said, y'all know who that is? And like, no, like, how do you not know who this is? You know who Venus and Serena are? Y'all are not people who just have their heads in the sand. Y'all know what's going on when it's something of great magnitude and popular. And what the people said to me was, they had different. Everyone had their reason and rationale, but basically it came down to we're not paying attention. One person said, well, I don't watch the news; it's too depressing. Another person says, yeah, I don't really pay attention to what's going on with the news and things like that. And then now, these are people who, what's going on. I can kind of talk to you and things like that. If I asked you about a famous celebrity, for the most part, you're going to know who I'm talking about. If I brought up the Sean Diddy Combs trial, they would know that. It's not like these are people who just don't ever watch TV, just at home, just a recluse. But what they were saying was that they really don't pay attention to what's going on in the world. And so to miss this famous tennis player, this famous sports athlete, to not really hear about that is because you're not listening to, I'm going to say, stuff that news that matters. You may be on a gossip scene. You may be on, just whatever your algorithm says. As I say, you sit on your phone and you go down your algorithm. But what you're not doing is paying attention to, local news, world news, different things like that. And so they were saying that like we don't pay attention. We do not pay attention to what's going on. If you've been here before, from time to time what we discuss, and we've had people discuss is whether or not you need to pay attention to the world, or whether or not you should be staying siloed into your own environment, and not in a negative way, more so of let's concentrate on things that I can affect. If I can personally affect or personally touch my community, that's what I'm going to concentrate on. Things that are going on in the broader community, in the larger community that I can't touch or affect, I'm not going to pay attention to. I'm going to leave alone. And so that's one philosophy that we've heard here multiple times. And then there's the other philosophy of I need to be a person of the world. I need to understand what's going on everywhere, so that I may one, have knowledge and be informed, and then two, if there is something that I can touch and affect in the world on a world scale, I need to be able to participate in that. And so these are very different views, very different opposing views. Now, I painted those both out in more of a positive light. The one, okay, I need to stay focused on what's going on in my community, only the things I can touch and that I can participate in, and only the things that I can have some influence over, because anything else is just going to be wasted effort, and I'll just be mad and upset. That's a positive view of how to look at it. There's another view, and it's kind of the view of the people I was talking to more so is, I care about what I care about, and I don't care about nothing else. I'm kind of going to be selfish. I'm going to make sure that I go to work and get the money that I can get and take care of my kids or my family, and that's it. I'm not thinking about what's going on with anybody else. It's just not important to me. What's important to me is me doing my thing. And that's more of a self-serving, selfish view, but that's a view that's popular with many people. And I think that is more so the view of folk on that side that's saying I'm just going to focus on myself, my community. Is more of a me focus, not a I want to be able to be impactful, and I don't want to waste my time with stuff that I can't have a significant impact on. It is, I care about what I care about. I care about me, myself, my family, my group, my friends, and I'm not going to care about or waste time with anything else. That's the more positive view. Now, on the other side, all right, I'm going to be a person of the world. I'm going to care about everything that's going on in the world. I made that a positive view as well, where you want to see what's going on in other places, so that you want to be informed, and then so that you can possibly put in some effects. But that's also, I'm just a nosy person. I need to know what's going on everywhere, so I can gossip about it. I can talk about it. I don't really have any effect or anything that I'm going to be able to do towards it. I just need to be all about what I want to be about, and that's just having my myself all in everybody else's business. And so you got positives and negatives on both sides of those. And the discussion that we have here is, where's our responsibility? If we're a moral person, if you're going to be a Christian, a man or woman of God, where should you lie, or where is the Bible pushing us kind of on that spectrum? And that's always the problem that I have, or always the discussion that I have with people. And so when I hear people say, well, I'm not really watching news, I'm not really paying attention to what's going on, whether, and in full disclosure, I don't watch the local news that much. I watch national news. I make sure that I'm on the national scene, but the local I don't pay attention to as much, but I still make sure that I try to stay informed. So I just want to make sure I put that out there, because you're like, wait, man, this guy's in the local paper on something. No, that's not me. But I think that where we're sitting back and we're looking, how can we be neighbors to people? If our goal is to be a neighbor, if our goal is to to be in community, love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Where's our responsibility when it comes to making sure that we stay informed about what's going on with our neighbors and what's the extent of that? I would say that you do have a responsibility. It's tough to be a Christian, and being a Christian is not sitting back and thinking about the people who come into the church, the people who come in through the door. It's thinking about the people who don't come in through the door. Because you're going to be the disciple of Christ and kind of go out and touch the community. You got to pay attention to what's going on in the community. There's many churches who have long reaches when it comes to missions and then when it comes to helping others. And their reach will be their community. Their reach will be the next state over, or the next county over. Their reach will be into other countries where they see where they have missions in other countries. If you look at some of these larger ministries that have the ability to do so, they'll send missionaries out to other countries. They will send people out to assist in other countries. So their reach is long. So they're being a neighbor internationally. Is that the true responsibility of the church? Is that what we should all be doing? I would tend to kind of lean towards that and say, yeah, if you're going to love your neighbor, you got to love the neighbor. You don't just love the neighbor, you got to seek out your neighbor. And the Catholic Church did it very well back in the day when they would put a lot of urban ministries. They would have their ministries right there in the middle of the city, in the heart of the city, right there, just in the middle of everything that's going on, hustling and bustling. And so when you're in the middle of everything, it gives you an opportunity to really kind of be out there and look at the neighborhood and connect with others. And so that's the discussion of how much do we need to really go out there. I think that we have a responsibility to seek out our neighbors. We have the responsibility to seek out the community. And then the question comes in, what's the reach? Is it enough to just do your local, or do you have to do like those other ministries and try to go international? Well, here's the thing. I think that if you stay informed and then you see the need, you can't unsee the need, and then you want to participate and do something. There are people who are hurting, or people who need Christians. And if we don't pay attention, and if we are not staying informed and hearing their need, hearing them cry out, hearing what they're asking, then we're not doing our job. And that's the way that I lean. And I lean that way is local and international. That is local in your community, and that is throughout your larger community, your whole county, your whole city, your whole state, whatever it has to be. I think that you have to be informed about what's going on. And people don't like to be informed sometimes because one of the comments that was made was, the news and staying informed is too depressing. It's too much negative stuff going out there. And that's true. You can get into that death cycle of just being, bogged down by the negativity. The news and I get 60 Minutes is one of the great shows. They love to catch you on some stuff like, you're going to die if you take this kind of medicine. And now we're going to do an expose of why this medicine is so bad, why you might die. And, they scare you into certain things, and it is what happens. But I think there's a responsibility to seek out and see some of the negative stuff. Unfortunately, and able to turn a negative into a positive, you got to be able to see the negative first. And you can't be somebody who's going to be, bringing the light if you're always staying in the light. The light should be going towards the darkness. So sometimes we got to go towards those dark places to be able to shine a light over there. And so the only way to do that is to know what's going on. It's to stay informed. And so when we have this conversation, when people try to say, we need to be paying attention to everything, or when people try to say we need to only be paying attention to what's going on in our local area or in our silos, I think that the opportunity, as long as you are not ignoring, or not purposely ignoring your neighbors, purposely not paying attention to what's going on so you don't have to get involved, purposely hiding your head so that you don't have to see the hurt and the pain that other people may be experiencing, purposely not staying up on stuff so that you don't have to get frustrated or angry, so that you don't have to participate. If you are hiding from those, or you're using it as an excuse, you're using your personal feelings as an excuse to stay away, then yeah, I think you're doing wrong. So when the comment says I don't look at the news because it's too depressing, I think you're doing wrong. Because that's easy to do. It's easy to do. That there's homeless out here. Let's turn our face to and not see them and not pay attention. Then we don't have to do anything. We know that there's people out here who have a bunch of different situations, mental health issues and other issues. Let's turn our face away. We know that you have, the government out here, you have ICE running as a terrorist organization out here, abusing people who they think are either undocumented, have wrong documentation, or just based on their race, the way that they talk, the way that they look, the color of their skin, that ICE is going to come out here and they're going to terrorize people. We can't turn away from that and say, well, I'm just not going to pay attention to that either. Our job is to, I think as Christians, our job as people is to, again, love our neighbors. And you got to pay attention to what's going on in the neighborhood. You got to understand and what's going on with other people. There were a couple of years back, they used to talk about, the complaint in churches was, all the people just sit up in the church and they don't ever do anything. They got to get out and get into the community. And the truth of that is, yes, you can't just sit up in the church. You have to get out and know what's going on. You have to know the community. You have to know people. But now, even though we're now a lot more digital, half people don't come to church and they just do it online, you got the same responsibility. You can't just sit up in your house all day and not get out and know what's going on. You got to participate in the process. You got to participate in this world. We're citizens of the world. And, I think in order to let other people know the love of Christ, the love of God, to let other people know the love of the church and how we love one another, we have to pay attention to what's going on in their lives. We got to know. And so, as hard as it may be for some, for those of us who are nosy, it's easy. Let's stay up on everything. We're going to know what's going on in all parts of the world. We're going to know what's going on in all the communities. But for those of us who we want to stay away from some of the negativity and things like that, I get it. But we have a responsibility to know what's going on. Yeah, especially in our community, but even beyond that. You should know what's going on in Washington. Wow. Oh, it's just politics. No. It's policy. It's things that will affect people in your neighborhoods. With food programs, whether they get enhanced or whether they get cut, that affects. Your church needs to know whether or not you're going to have a new responsibility or an increased responsibility to be able to have to feed them. When they're talking about healthcare, when they're expanding the Affordable Care Act or they're cutting the Affordable Care Act, we need to know, because we need to know whether or not the church has to step into a different arena when it comes to healthcare and make sure that people have their needs met. You can't do these things if you're not paying attention to what's going on. And so, Washington is politicians, Washington, your state capital, all that stuff. It's messy. Sometimes it's gross to even think about paying attention to all that. Boring. But those things are what affects the community, and it affects what the church should be doing. Funding that goes towards the church, or funding that goes towards other organizations that help people. We need to know about all of that. We've got to pay attention to all of that. Yeah, let's go to the Black church. Black church has historically been one of the places that has Black thought. We're talking about the civil rights movement, even before then. A lot of the organizations, nonprofits, a lot of the organizations that fought for civil rights, a lot of the organizations, period, met in churches. All types of organizations met in churches, started in churches, were in coordination with churches. The power comes from the church. So a lot of the community power comes from the church. And community power can't come through the church if the church ain't paying attention to what's going on. And we got to remind people that that's where the power is supposed to be, and that's where the power, comes from. It comes from the church. We need to bring it back to the church. So the church needs to pay attention more than ever. People say, "Well, I just want to go to church and go, do church. I don't want to hear about what's going on in the community. I don't want to hear about politics. I don't want to hear about this and all that." No, everything should be in church. That's what we do. And so if we need to participate in whatever the process may be, You need to come to the church. When it comes to the black church has power. Black church, black faith communities, and whether you can go outside the church. And I'll say this, and I'll probably beat this drum until the drum is broken. I'll continue to beat it. But the black church or the black faith community is what has been driving for the black community to be able to advance year after year after year. When we have advancements that fail and fall flat on their faces, it's usually because they're disconnected from the church. I love Black Lives Matter, the idea and the thought of how it was pushed out there. The reality of the matter is it wasn't as effective because it didn't come from the church. It had come from the streets. And the reason they had come from the streets is because the church wasn't the one driving it. The church should have been doing that a long time ago. So, yeah, we need to pay attention. We need to pay attention. I say pay attention locally, nationally, pay attention to everything that's going on so that we can affect change. But to the folk, like the folk that I was with, who decided that they're not going to pay attention to what's going on, they're going to stay into their own world, try to make their own money. Oh, I'm so busy with my job, with my family, blah 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 blah. You need to pay attention to the world that you're sending your kids out to. You can sit there, you can make all the money, and you get your kids all the whatever they need, provide for all their needs, give them great education, but then you send them out into this world that's all messed up because you didn't pay attention to the world. You got them looking nice, but you sending them out into a bad situation. Let's make sure that we not only care about our kids and other kids in our neighborhood and the other kids around, but also let's care about the world that we're sending them into. And the way you do that, again, is by paying attention to what's going on out into the world. And so, yeah, when I talk to the people, I was disappointed, and I said, man, you got to pay attention to some point. If you don't know what's going on, you're in trouble. We in trouble. And I think that's part of the reason of where we are now. One of the things they say about, one of the things they say about this whole new age of, not even new anymore, but this age of social media, is that it's distractions. They want to do is get your eyes into those screens. And they want to get you to just be looking at Instagram all day, or Facebook all day, or Snap, whatever it is, and just be looking at pictures all day, and looking at other people all day, liking posts and doing all of this stuff. And while you're sitting here watching reality TV shows all day, watching sports all day, while you're sitting here doing these things, the world is going on around you. People are making changes and affecting lives. While we're just busy doing a bunch of nothing, while we're so focused on doing a bunch of nothing, the world is going on and moving and shaking around us. And so the more people that you can get to be focused in on nothing, the easier it will be for you to change the world. Only 48% of the population votes in the United States. So that means that there's another 52% of the population, the majority, who don't participate. So it's easier for that 48% to make decisions for the whole entire group because half of them are not even participating. And that's what the whole gist of it is. Let's eliminate as much people as we can. By having them do a bunch of mindless stuff, let them be selfish, let them, let me get you to go take your child to travel baseball and AAU basketball and travel football so you can spend all your time there so that you can't come to anything else, PTA meetings, so that you can't participate in the local town council, or you can't participate, or you got no time to vote, so nothing can go on. You so busy doing that mess that you don't have any participation. I've eliminated you so I can make whatever laws benefits me. I can abuse whatever people I want to abuse because you're so busy doing your thing. You're so busy Instagramming, Snapchatting, running around, hoping my son or daughter will be the next WNBA or NBA star. Less than 0.01% who will be there. But you spend all your time there so that the world can pass you by and people can do whatever they want to do. if we're going to be responsible for one another, then we got to pay attention to what's going on. All right, that's it. I know that was a little a little straightforward. One of the things that was said, matter of fact, this Sunday was to pay attention to the stuff that matters, and I think that that's really important to make sure that we all understand. Are we paying attention to what matters? Are we worrying about what matters? Our focus is in on what matters, and we're not wasting a lot of our focus on things that don't matter. You're worried about the wrong stuff. So let's make sure we worry about the right stuff. All right. As a reminder, on Thursday, be right back here. Thursday at 7:00 for Thursday weekly Bible study. Be right back here again on Sunday at 10:00 for service, worship service, and then be right back here again next Tuesday at 7 for prayer. You do that on your own from 7 to 7:45, and then at 8:00 for Impact 2025. Thank everybody for joining us. Thank you for your participation, and join us again next week. All right. Have a great day.